Hello, dirt house construction workers. How are you doing? And welcome to my video on how to become a better builder in Minecraft. Ouch. Now, some of you probably aren't dirt house builders. Some of you are actually probably pretty good builders. And this video is for everybody. This will help you, whether you're a good builder or a really bad builder. So you will take away at least one thing from this video or be reminded of it. So if you're ready to become a better builder, let's just get going. And first thing we're going to start with, guys, the first tip we're going to discuss is arguably the most important. Now let me grab something. Let me grab diorite because nobody likes it and everyone gets frustrated when you try and build with it. But this is the most important part of your build, guys. Planning. You have to plan it out. You have to have a really good idea in your head of what you're going to build. Get some inspiration from some other source and have not a reference, but some things to look at in case you get stuck. Something that will spark more inspiration and get your mind going. I love to use pictures of things in real life and piece different parts of different pictures together and try and make things piece together the way I want it in my mind. So the first way I always start out my builds is with a floor plan. So guys, please, no more of this. This is not going to work. This is just bad. This isn't going to happen. Let's just do something like this. Let's just go with a nice normal rectangle L shape. This is a really classic shape that I use all the time, and it's one of my favorites to build with because it's so simple yet looks so good. Okay, there we go. Just a simple L-shaped house. And it's not even, it doesn't have to be even. You could make it the same exact as this one over here, but you know, resist symmetry, guys. That is a big tip. Another thing, guys, if you want to add a tower in the back or something, you know, add it out the front, who knows, whatever you're thinking, add your tower in the floor plan. If you want to have your doorway come out a little bit, have your doorway come out a little bit. And guys, here we go. Just a couple examples of some floor plans you could use. Over here we have one that has a tower, a small building with a tower, something like this, just the normal L shape, guys, the classic L shape. These are all just random ideas you can come up with. This one goes bigger and then smaller. Guys, just be creative. It doesn't matter. Think of a floor plan that just isn't a square. Think of something a little more complicated, please. And guys, the next thing we're going to be talking about is the color palette. The next important step that we're going to be taking as part of our building learning experience. So guys, once you find your color that you want to be using, say I did choose diorite. I wish I didn't, but I already started this and I guess I've chosen diorite. You have diorite or your block. Next thing you want to do is find other blocks that'll go with it to texture in the walls and stuff. So I chose polished diorite and white concrete. These things go together well. They're not too far away in the difference in the way of color or texture. So they'll just be kind of blended together real nicely. So let me give you some examples of color palettes. Here are some of my favorites real quick. This is just some of the simple color palettes I used. This one I used a lot. These are just simple ones that you can use in your builds. Just good examples of palettes that you could use. This is obviously not everything, but guys, hopefully this helps you stimulate some creativity. And then finally, let's talk about adding, you know, some kind of complementary color, something that's gonna stand out a lot. And these two complement each other really well. And if we just had the roof made out of dark oak, it would have just been a white and brown house. And I mean, I'm sure it would have been interesting, but add in something like this, some extra pop of color to really make it stand out and be different. And terracotta is probably the best way. I always use just two similar colored terracotta blocks. And these two, it's probably my favorite combination. I'm even doing a pretty huge build with these two, so stick around very soon to see that. And here we go, guys, some more examples just of the colored terracotta roofs. And this is not all the colors of terracotta. This is just some of my favorite colored roof combinations that I like to go with. Hopefully this helps. And so there we have it, guys. I constructed my walls on top of my frame and everything. And I mean, I guess we can get rid of that for now just to demonstrate. And this is what I have right here. I took out the polished diorite because it just looked a little too marbly, a little too weird. So I just want to talk about texturing for one more second, just to have this really drilled in your mind, I guess. This is super important. This could be, you know, this is one of the most important building tips, guys. Don't just have one color flat wall. Use different blocks intermix to make it look, you know, beautiful. I mean, this is pretty good. I mean, the diorite's a little strong. It's not so good. I mean, I could switch this up to give you another demonstration, I guess. Okay, and here we go. Here's another example just like this. We have this nice absolutely beautiful. This is my favorite texturing gradient right here. This is perfect. If you guys use cobblestone, andesite, stone brick, and stone for the rest of your life, you will be fine, trust me. And our next step is going to talk about depth. If you've seen any of my building videos before, if you've seen me talk about any of my building tips, this is probably the one that I talk about the most important. This wall is totally flat. I mean, it looks bad. This is a totally flat wall, and I'm super close up because I'm trying to not show the rest of it. But this is a super flat wall. If your pillars and your wall are on the same flat level, these textures are connecting, that is disgusting. Move it back one. As I come over here, I can show you, like, this is just gross. This is so gross. Don't have this. Push it in one and look at the difference it makes. Look at how much better this build looks when you just push the wall in one block. And I'm going to use world edit, guys. I know some people don't like world edit, but look, if I just move this in one block like that, look at that, such a difference. And if I do the same thing right here, I just need to knock these out because otherwise they'd get stuck on it. Let's just do that and move it that way, and boom, we have a mistake. Okay, all fixed up, but look at this, guys. Absolutely beautiful. It does reduce your interior space by quite a bit. I mean, over here, look, we just have a 2-wide corridor, but you can always expand your house, always make it bigger. But look at this depth, guys. Push your walls in one block, no matter what. You can make a basement to make more space. This makes your build look so much better. You have to have the depth in here. It's so important. Alright guys, and right now we're going to jump into somewhat of a time lapse. First thing you can see me do here is build the outlines for the roofs before I fill it in, and then I go ahead and fill it in afterwards and then fix the top. And I add in some strange little bars on the roof in the front here, and I'll talk about everything I'm doing more in depth once we jump back into the video. But guys, first thing I do is always the roofs. After I do the wall, I add the texturing into the roofs, and then I fill in the top parts and then add the details like windows and stuff like that. Guys, I just want to mention also, building comes with practice. So the more you build, the better you get. And I hope these tips help you get better in your practice. Okay guys, and now there's just a few more things to talk about. As you see, I absolutely constructed the entire thing, but there's some things I didn't talk about while constructing it that I do want to show you and discuss with you. One thing is the roofs, guys. Don't have a simple roof. Don't just have a normal triangle roof. Do something a little more complicated like this. And you see I added this part of the roof on over there, so these match up, and then this back one goes into it. See how much better this looks if, you know, with this as opposed to if it was just a straight up rectangle. I mean, this looks great. This is much better than just having the rectangle. Next thing is, guys, with your windows, don't be afraid to just do something random. Just put some random trapdoors and slabs and on the side. Like, that's just completely, I mean, that's not so good. I could add some stairs in here that would probably make that a little bit better. Same stuff over here. This is my favorite type of window right here. Look at this, just some trapdoors. Simple stuff, guys. Simple stuff to make your window a little better. Have it pop up in here. Push that wall in just like we do at the bottom. Same deal. And then on the roofs, guys, use that as, you know, highlighting pieces. Add an extra window in here or there, popping out of the roof. Add these stripes going up it. I only did it on one side because I just wanted to show you the difference. See, this is just the plain side. It's just so plain. And over here, look at that. So much more detail, so much more interesting to look at. And then the other thing, guys, add a base thing down here like I did with this base. It could be stairs, anything. Use this log up here as a trim on top of the 4th block. This is all just house advice, really, but see how good it looks with the texturing in the roof. The texturing is a huge role. And one more thing, guys, with houses you can add a little what's it called, a little chimney. So let's just get a little chimney looking thing coming up here, and let's just have it come, this one can stop where it is, and this one will go to, well, let's do it. Yeah. Let's have this one go to here and that to there, and then we'll add in some of these campfires, obviously, and the good old trapdoor trick on, if I can get it in the right spot. And then just go through and we're going to texture this up a lot. So texture it up, get it all looking nice and messed up, I guess. And then the andesite is the last one, just a little bit of andesite in here, and boom, there we go. A nice little chimney, maybe a little too short, but look at that. It adds a little something to your build, and that is of course, if you are building a house. Now let's do a quick review of what we've talked about so far. We talked about the floor plan, planning out your build. That is the most important part, guys. Make sure you have a full plan and picture in your head of what you're going to build. Have some reference pictures for inspiration and whatnot. The next thing we talked about was using different color palettes, how to mix your color palettes together. So different examples, how to do your walls, pick colors for your roofs that complement the walls. And then the next thing we talked about was depth and pushing your walls in and pulling windows out, and see these stripes on the roof. These are even examples of depth that, you know, set it back into the wall, and it just makes it look so good. And then we talked about the house that I built here, some of the detailing, some of the tricks that I have for the windows, for the roofs, for the chimney, all sorts of stuff like that. And finally, guys, the last thing I want to talk about is just being creative. Don't be afraid to be creative. Don't be afraid to do random things. You know, find inspiration in everything, guys. You know, there's so much inspiration everywhere. People always ask how I get inspiration, and on my TikTok I have a series about giving people inspiration, and you can find it anywhere. Pay attention to what you pay attention to, if that makes sense. Pay attention to things that catch your attention, things that are interesting to you, and use that as creativity and inspiration. Try and, you know, make things from your imagination, and maybe even from other video games. There's so many sources of inspiration for Minecraft. So guys, before you start a build, always plan it out. Have a floor plan. Pick your color palette well. Make sure you don't have any clashing colors, strange colors. Make sure you have depth when you're building. Make sure your pillars are out one from your wall. Make sure your windows are sticking out. Make sure you have a gradient, some texture in your roof and in your walls. Make sure you have good details, good windows. And guys, that's all I have for today, and we're probably gonna do another video like this very soon about more tips to become a better builder. But I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, leave a like below and send me your builds on Instagram. I want to see some of the builds that you guys are making, and let me know if I helped with your building abilities at all. But I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.